Or bigger than a hell raid. Looks like you hurt on the decks. Glover hold the court and give the chief no suspect. Politics in the mix, like Gumbo Stewart Rich. Spinning tales from Black Wall Street, real life's the pitch. Gunny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Business tips hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse. Dropping wisdom like Hova, each word a joke. Gunny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to gains. Doni, the narrator, truth runs in veins. Gunny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Business tips hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse. Dropping wisdom like Hova, each word a joke. Gunny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to gains. Doni, the narrator, truth runs in veins. Gunny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Show, be more news. Be news.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. I want to take a moment and thank the good Lord, the Holy Spirit, the great creator, the great spirit for another day, another week, another opportunity to come to these airwaves and share some good information and bring some good people together. And we pray peace. May people come with peace and leave with peace. Ashe and amen. So I posed a question to Google, AI, and all of the rest of them earlier today. One thing that Mike Lane shared on his show was about the first trip of melanated people invited to the White House, August 14th, 1862. Abe Lincoln, he invited a small group of prominent leaders in the White House to the White House for a historic meeting, the first time quote unquote African Americans had been officially received at the executive mansion. The group included Reverend J.N. Gloucester, 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 and other clergy and community figures. He told them bluntly that he believed Black and white people could not live together peacefully after slavery ended. Lincoln urged them to support a government-backed plan for voluntary emigration, colonization of freed, quote-unquote, African Americans to Central America or Africa. I'm going to say that again. In the first meeting, and again, thank you to Mike Lane for bringing this out when he was on his show. On August 14th, 1862, Abe Lincoln invited a small group of black leaders to the White House for colonization, emigration. He wanted to send black people away. You got to ask yourself, why would he want to send black people away? I mean, because common sense says, and this goes to the younger generation's notion, belief, strong belief that we were already here. We did not get here. This is their belief. And you got to prove them wrong. If you can't prove them wrong, if you can't put up, you got to shut up. Can you prove that they come from Africa? They want you to prove that they came from Africa because they look at pieces of information like this right here saying that President Lincoln in 1862, 3 years before the Emancipation Proclamation, was pitching to black leaders, hey, get on a ship and go somewhere. Now, what doesn't make sense is if these people were imported from Africa, why would you send them back to Africa? I mean, that's something is funky. Anyway, it reveals Lincoln's early thinking. Black leaders tried to tell him, he didn't listen, but he came to the quick conclusion that these black people didn't want to go anywhere. As a matter of fact, it was 500,000 free black people in 1862. 500,000 free black people in the U.S. And Baltimore, my hometown, had the largest population of free blacks prior to the Civil War. That's always been my understanding. Now, let me share a couple more pointers, then we're going to bring in tonight's guest. They wanted to send people to Liberia, to Haiti, to Central America. If you recall, right after the Revolutionary War, the British sent soldiers, blacks here, who decided to fight for the British during the Revolutionary War. They were sent to Nova Scotia, and then they were sent to Sierra Leone. America sent some blacks who wanted to emigrate to Liberia. And it goes into the question. I posed a couple more questions. Let me share it with you. I started looking at what free black communities there existed. And anyway, it brought up the black newspaper. Yay! And this is where I'll end. One of the first pieces back in 1827, mind you, Lincoln's thing was 1862. Back in 1827, March 16th, when the first black newspaper came about, it was called Freedom's Journal. And one of their quotes was, "We wish to plead our own cause, too long have others spoken for us." And the reason this is powerful is because the editors declared that free black people are done being talked about by others. They want to be the ones doing the talking and telling of their own stories. We'd like to welcome to tonight's show a special new guest, Mafia Shakur. East side in the house.
Man, peace to God. It's a pleasure to have me, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. It's very important to me that we keep some elders on board. Open up your mic there, Hannibal. Hannibal, you come a long way, man. Look at y'all. Got y'all television ready.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing tonight?
Good evening. Welcome. And we have Princess. Now you had to say it. Is it Taikara?
Princess Taikara.
The princess. Okay. The voiceover queen.
The voiceover queen. Hi, everyone. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Awesome.
Yes. Let's get this party started.
So we've announced that Shakur is from Baltimore, Hannibal's from Detroit, and Princess is from Boston?
I'm from Boston, but living in Maryland. I went to Goucher College, and so here I am. I'm currently in Aberdeen, Maryland, not far from the city of Baltimore.
Princess, do you have Indian in your family?
Yes, I do. I need to trace my lineage. I'm half Hispanic, so I am half Honduran. My father was born and raised in Honduras, and my grandfather, my father's father, used to tell us that our family had some Cherokee and some other heritage Indian culture. In fact, my grandfather and mama, grandmother, both deceased, when you look at them, you can see Indian and in them. And some people used to tell me that I have some, looks and features of indigenous Indian people. But my mother's from the States with Southern roots, Birmingham, Alabama, Southern roots. But my father's family, I know for certain because they are from Honduras, indigenous people of Honduras, and hence me habla español muy poquito. But here we go. Yeah,
A little bit.
muy poquito, sí,
I see.
sí, yes.
So just to share a little bit, I've been doing Be More News for 23 years. Princess was an intern with me.
Yeah.
Shucks, what was that? 06?
I know time flies. I think it was like 06, 07. Sometime 05, 06, 07, somewhere in there. But it's been like 20 years. I've known you for about 20 years.
Okay.
I still look 20, so.
I put this book out in Unapologetically Black. That's me at the White House. That was my first book, 2015. I'm doing this because I'm not all that good, Mafia Shakur, at promoting myself. I think you shared a similar thing. But as we help each other, as we work together, we get better at it. All of these are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, Genopreneur, speaking about the business of media. And this is the most recent one. I don't know if you saw this, Princess. Black,
Oh,
you
no.
came to the last book signing. This one just came out 2 weeks ago. Black Blueprint.
Wow.
Baltimore to Burkina Faso. Really proud of that.
Congratulations.
My web design is in Nigeria. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm horrible at pushing people to do that, but do what you can. Tahongo, Tahongo, I've been trying to practice that word. Can you put up the pronunciation? I know, and don't get mad at me, Tahongo. Powhatan. I think you were saying it's Powhatan. I wasn't sure of what you were pushing in the how you were teaching me. So you got to help me with Powhatan. I certainly want to get it right. We are the indigenous people of this land and never came from Africa. Ashe. All right. So one of the things we've talked about is this paper genocide where people got declassified. And what I want you to do, Hannibal, well, let me say this. Going back to the mission. The mission of this news outlet is to have some positive discussions about indigenous history. We put up a video, Shakur, I shared with you maybe about 10 years ago, and it got all kinds of negative flack. And so with such interest today in indigenous, it is really refreshing. But we're going to get to you. But Hannibal, what have we talked about thus far in terms of lineage that Princess needs to know because she wants to do her search?
Well, I think for all of us, we need to document our ancestry, like start with us, then our parents and grandparents. And I think by the time you get to your great-great-grandparents, for me, it was my great-grandparents, you would start seeing hints of Native. Like let me see if I can share with you, because I took the ancestry DNA test, and I got a family tree, and I got some pictures. But knowing the history of African Americans here, as far as when we landed here, the narrative that they tell us in like 1619, who was there? It was just a handful of colonists and so-called some people they brought on ships here from wherever they came from. Now you had these indigenous people here, like in Virginia and Maryland. You had the Iroquois up like towards New York. You had the Algonquins right there in Maryland, and the Creeks. Then you had the Cherokees and all these Indians. They was at conflict with each other. So you had people that ran away. So that was enslaved. They ran away. You get what I mean? And our story is complex. So so I'm coming at many angles because it is many angles to cover. But what I'm saying is that it's a group of people called the Free People of Color. and they documented his last names in Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina. And these last names is hundreds of them, I believe. Like Goff, my surnames is Goff, Harris, Gibson, Johnson. These are my surnames from like on my mother and father's side. And these surnames have native links back to like when you get to the 1780s, 1820s, around that way. You know, and then it all depends on where you come from. I happen to come from at the end of the emancipation, we was in Coosa, Alabama. And that happened to be the capital of the Creek Nation in Alabama. And so that was the last jump off point to when the Creeks left on the Trail of Tears. So some of us stayed behind. So our story is kind of, you know, we didn't know it, but it's documented there. So what I advise our people to do is just start documenting your story instead of leeching on someone else's story, because you'll get misled. You get what I mean?
Let me just jump in here for a second. Welcome to the show, Doug Blackshear. Doug, you gonna keep that camera still? You ain't gonna make me dizzy tonight, are you? Unmute your mic.
I have you on my phone because
you know, if you rotate the phone, it'll expand right there. Can you rotate your screen and turn it sideways? You gotta hit the rotate button. There you go. Now you look official. And keep it still. And like Hannibal, keep your hands to yourself. Don't touch it no more. Don't touch it. Where you from, Doug?
Oakland, California.
So I told you, Princess, we got a national.
Wonderful, thank you.
It's good to be here with the team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got Indian in your family? Because after this, we're gonna bring up Mafia, and Mafia gonna run the show for a minute because he got some things to say. And I want to get out the way and let Mafia's generation run this joint. Go ahead, Doug. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Oakland, California. My great grandmother on my father's side, she was 100% Cherokee. And so what I need to do is what many white people do, run out and get a casino. I could trace it back. But to that end, indigenous people and we have been split up, and I say we because I got Cherokee in me, but we are not. It's divide and conquer. It's divide and conquer, and white people throughout the history of this country has divided every nationality to make sure we don't gather our forces and get what's truly ours in this country.
Yeah, I truly believe that it's an unseen hand that's influencing everything, you know, and on the surface we see who is administering it, but it's a co-op, I believe. And even when you get back into history, you'll start seeing that co-op. You get what I mean? A group of people, you know. I myself, I don't take it really personal. I'm on a mission to get us together, you know, to establish something for my kids, my grandchildren, you know, to leave them something instead of leaving them like I was left. So to that end, I agree with everything you said. It's been a plan to keep us the way we are, to have us in many directions, but I see now that it's a spirit out here that we all gathering now, and it's a good time. So I'm gonna leave it to Mafia to go ahead and take over.
No, I agree with the guys. You know what I'm saying? I agree with what y'all are saying, and from my perspective, it's just the names. I think the names, once they changed our names, and we've been so detached from who we are that when we hear these names, we get confused and we get to going to war again because I call something this and you call something this. So now we combating because we actually talking about the same thing, but we don't have that. We don't have that 360. We see 180, so we only seeing from that straight on eye. So when we able to see 360, we can see the whole board and be able to see that we talking about the same thing a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? So from a personal perspective, my great grandmother, she always told me that her grandmother was Indian. So that's my great grandmother's grandmother. And I don't know necessarily the tribe because I haven't, done like genealogy or anything of that sort. I was always just into the historical aspect and the cultural aspect because of certain leaders that I followed, the Black Panther Party, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Clarence 13th X, Allah the Father, Noble Drew Ali, all the greats. I studied all of that because it was like coming up in the era of hip hop, we mainly had Tupac. So for somebody like Tupac to get killed doing music and given his concept of where the revolution was at in that time, to still be killed and murdered just like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and everybody else, it's like it didn't matter which way you took, you were murdered for actually trying to help us recover or remember who we were as far as in the knowledge or how to uncover these things. So since more information has really been coming to our hands, we have so many different perspectives and everybody come from so many different schools of thought that we just get into a common ground and try to find a common ground from a cultural aspect. But we first have to get to, in my opinion, is the spiritual aspect, because once we know what we identify as spiritually, then the cultural differences won't apply because we'll be able to see that same thing that I'm talking about from a 360 perspective, as opposed to just having a straight on vision to what we see or what we know or what we think we know. That's why I love this show as well, to salute everybody that's been on here prior to me, is that we more open to the information that's coming in or different perspectives or hearing each other out to see where the differences or where the common ground lies, to have that open communication to be able to bridge the gap between us. You know what I'm saying?
And mafia is not just a spiritual, it's a political. This country has raped the indigenous people, the people who were here for centuries. And in order to kind of ascertain, get what is truly owed all the people in this country, because the only real natives are the Indians. Those are the only real native. But the white man has tried to exclude Black people, Asians, Indians, etc., from the political process, because laws in this country is what make things happen. Look at what Trump's doing now. He's creating laws to enrich himself. From the last report I read about him, he's generated almost $3.5 billion because he's creating laws that will enrich his people, his family, instead of creating laws that will hold people accountable. And just give you a quick example of what I'm doing here in Oakland. I've been reaching out to the brothers in the deep East Oakland. One of the things we have to all realize, wherever we are from, when there's a problem in a white community, white people show up and show out at city council, board of supervisors, and all these other different types of political processes in which no matter how much money you got, if you don't have the votes, you can't get elected. And that's what I'm teaching a lot of young brothers. From on September 30th, I got over a dozen to 2 dozen brothers gonna come with me to city council and voice their opinion. And the way I got into that is I would tell them, the reason why you guys don't have clean parks, clean streets, police services, etc., is because the politicians who are in your neighborhood, they it's a big map, and it shows the demographics of how many people vote. And the flatlands in East Oakland, 15 to 30% of people vote. In the hills in Oakland, which is predominantly white, 75 to 90%. So who you think gonna get all the services?
Doug, we're gonna shift gears a bit.
Those,
Go ahead, Mafia.
yes, I was just going to say those who are actively operating in the political aspect. That's why they separated the church from state, so that they can create that division amongst the people to not understand that the church and the state is one. So if we don't know who we are spiritually, we can't know who we are politically. That's why we have a cultural defect, because it's a tripod to self, the three aspects of self, just like future, past, and present. It's the three components. It's the 369 method. You know what I'm saying? So from that aspect, it's just like the political game has made a reign, and it has had its stronghold as far as in the people and how we operate as a community. But that was a part of the system operation from the jump, as far as an integration and the laws and everything. You know what I'm saying? So even when it comes down to us talking about the white man he looked just like us, got the same skin color. So just like if we know about the white man is the European, the black Europeans, if we get to the Europeans, the Moors and the black Moors, the tawny Moors, and all these different type of Moors, then we'll get to how they grouped us, and they gave us these catch terms like Moor and Seminole. That's not what we called ourselves, Indians. We wasn't called Indians. But we know that when we talking about who we are, we use these titles just like black. We not black because black means you absent of law. That means you, that's why they say you black, because you 3/5 a human. You not 5/5 realize that you are the God self of yourself, that you govern, you're sovereign of your own body. And from that political aspect, we not operating in our own sovereignty to have our political. We supposed to go to, when we dealing with politics, we go as our own body. We not going to them for them to give us something. We go as our own body of politics. You know what I'm saying? We our own body politic, but we not governing ourselves enough to go up against those who are operating in our space. That's like somebody coming in your house and start cleaning up and sweeping. It's like, oh, well, you appreciate it, but what you doing here though? Like when it's time for them to go and you ready to go to bed though, you like, what you still doing here though? Like, no, it's time to go though, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we haven't been able to get them out of our house because the integration, and we playing along with their system. And not to say that anything that anybody has done from us gaining this re-knowledge or this remembrance of self and how to operate as our sovereign self has played a part, as far as in politics, spirituality, everything play a part. It's just who we are now and how we moving forward to utilize what we know.
Well, let me ask you one thing before we move forward.
Hold tight, Doug, because you ain't been wanting to host no shows, and you ain't gonna just come here with no takeover. We got a new guest that you want to meet, Wells.
Pleasure. Hey, how's everybody?
Yeah,
Peace and blessings. All
Tell
right.
them where you at, Wells.
I'm in currently in Maui, Hawaii.
Oh, all right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Pleasure to be here.
We've touched the country. Any thoughts thus far, Mr. Wells?
No, I'm good. I'm just here to learn and listen and learn.
All right, Princess, you're getting a little bored over there. Have you learned anything thus far? You're muted.
Okay, I'm not muted anymore. I have been listening to the rhetoric, and my thoughts on all of this is I think that I love the diaspora. I think that we live in a multicultural society, and when we talk about some of these issues, I believe what it boils down to, given my experience after attending some very prominent schools in Massachusetts and Maryland, Goucher College, Beaver Country Day, I believe what it boils down to is access and lack of access to resources. A lot of this is access and resources. And apathy is weirdly what we're talking about. Apathy, from what I've witnessed, affects all races. All races in some form or shape are apathetic in some form or shape, depending on what we're talking about. I think in the current arena of politics, what's missing right now is just love and unity. We're missing that right now. And it's what we all need. But when we get to talking about change, what creates change is resources and then creating access. And I believe that a lot of times, I don't like to just centralize it and say that any particular racial group is not doing X behavior versus another racial group, because I believe that there's some of every racial group that fits certain descriptions and characteristics. But I think what it boils down is to how do we, as a body of people, become more supportive to the change that needs to happen. And in my own life, anytime that I was on a road of progress, anytime I was working on a business, which I now am, I have been surrounded by a plethora of people from all racial backgrounds and identities to help me move forward. And so what I really think this is just us gaining an appreciation. We talk about indigenous people. I remember reading books about the Mayan people and just being inspired about, how hard they work. And of course I can break that down, but for sake of time, I just want to keep it really general. And that is to just respect the fact that as a people, we have so much to offer. And I would like to see, because Doni earlier mentioned, some of us coming from different age backgrounds and experiences, I would just like to see unity and us embracing, what that looks like. How do we become more loving towards one another? How do we embrace differences? How do we accept people regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of the shape of their nose or the shape of their cheeks? That's the kind of stuff I love. That's the kind of stuff I embrace. And I wish more of that was just everywhere. And especially what we're seeing right now in the political sphere, it's just, we're missing that love. Yeah.
Like for me looking outward, I see us as a diverse group. The whole compendium of America is us. Our genetics is basically everyone here. So basically, when we throw hate at someone, we basically indirectly hate ourselves, and that would put up a like you said, a wall. It's no advancement. So like I agree with you. It got to be some type of reconciliation or some type of set aside, because the goal is here, and we got all these peripherals that's throwing us off. That's my main thing. To stay focused.
If we're looking for set asides from the American government, I think we might want to just try our own Black Wall Street again, because they're not giving us anything. If anything, they're taking away from us. And for the Black people that supported Trump, I want to thank you for encouraging him to get rid of programs that benefited Black businesses. I really want to thank you, Black Trump supporters. I don't know what we'd do without you. Bravo. Come on, Wells, you've been quiet. I ain't used to you being this quiet.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just taking it all in.
And I agree with what she was saying as far as in the love aspect. But the love starts with knowing who you are. How can you love another if you don't know how to love yourself for who you are? You know what I'm saying? So it causes a friction, because there's so much tension because of everything that has transpired over time. The only race is the human race. So we all we know that the mitochondria DNA creates all types and shades of a human being. So from that aspect, then the only division is by the lines that they say you from this continent and you from this continent, because we come from a global society. So if we come from global societies that was already that lived in harmony and went to war and started deteriorating from going at war with each other and betrayal, you know what I'm saying? That's how Hannibal was defeated, because he didn't count for the betrayal of the person that was standing next to him. So it's things that transpired in history that had to transpire for us to go through certain things to even evolve as a people. If we've been here since the beginning of time, it takes the down spiral and the up for the wave to create the evolution. If there's nothing new under the sun, how do we create something that's new?
So here's a question I got for you, Mafia. I don't get this. There are people who watch this show who say that we, the people on this screen, that we are indigenous, that we are native. At the same time, these same people, many of them, some of them, like Brenda Bennett, believe that we are Hebrews. My question is this: how the hell are we gonna be both? How are we gonna be indigenous Americans and biblical too? Because that's where it's like, whoa. Now I get it. This is different than I thought. Like I had an Afrocentric perspective prior to speaking with the Mike Lane. I had a 1,000,000% Afro, and then evidence was being revealed to me. Whoa, the pyramids in Peru are older than the ones in Egypt. There are more pyramids in the Americas than in Africa. I'm like, whoa, okay. So that's the piece that I'm a little like, well, how did that happen? Because somebody in Africa with a Bible was talking about somebody here who is Hebrew and indigenous, and I ain't seen that connect yet. I mean, I'm not saying it's not there, but that's what I'm searching for personally.
Every cultural group, it don't matter the race, because every cultural group has many racial ethnicities. Every cultural group that came in power, they took the origin of the story and they made it fit to their culture. That's why we have different spiritual and religious groups that make it conflict. You see what I'm saying? They make conflicting ideas because the victor tells the story. So when certain people won certain wars and battles, they told the story from their perspective. And that allowed certain ideas and ideologies of religion, because like he say, religion and state also goes with war. So the war was fought for the religion and the politics, which gave way for these things to be the overseers of our lives to the day. You know what I'm saying? So from the Hebrews, some of us are Hebrews, not all of us. Some people come from the Hebrews. So that's why we have a melting pot. That's why they say America is the great melting pot, because everything was supposed to come together here, but it was divided because this the origin. Once everybody took everything and extracted, how they say everything was extracted out of Africa, everything was extracted out of America, because it's all a global society. So we thinking still
we're
from
limiting our thinking. You're saying your generation, no, and I say respectfully,
yes, sir.
You're saying that we have limited the possibilities in our mind. We only can think from a Africa-centric perspective when we have evidence of an Americentric.
Yes, the earth is our home. We not born to no geographical location. The earth is our home. The earth, this is how we can travel. We can travel the whole earth now. That's why they put these borders and guidelines so that we can't travel and roam freely. Some people are African because we married. We had African marriages. This is why the tribes even our tribes on American land was at war, because the different tribes married into each other. That's how we shared power. Because your tribe knows more about the water. My tribe know more about the land. This tribe know more about the air. This tribe know more about so we married to create the power source through our families and the children that we raised up and what we could produce as a family.
Okay,
may I add?
Oh, please.
I would like to add, so in comment to your question, Doni, I would like to just focus on the definition itself. I didn't have the pleasure of hearing the comment made on the previous show with regard to Hebrews versus Gentiles, but my understanding in biblical terms that the word Hebrew in the Bible typically refers to, or more broadly representing Jewish people, and the word Gentile in the Bible typically refer to anyone who is non-Jewish in the Bible. That's my understanding. So
Jewish, to my understanding, is like a Jew. Hebrew is more of the original. That's my understanding. Jewish means like black-ish, Muslim-ish, baseball-ish, like, but not the original. That's my understanding. I could be wrong.
But that's why.
So I mean, so with regard to the ish part, I'm sure we could definitely break that down. But just speaking generally in broad terms, I believe Hebrew, or more broadly, it refers to Jewish people, and then the Gentiles, it's anyone non-Jewish in more broad terms. I think when we start to break down what you're describing, I think it takes on a different meaning. So I just wanted to add that.
Well, listen up. You're about to get an education. Go ahead, Myron.
Yes, the Jews are the Hebrews. This one we get to talking about the Blackamoors, the Tawny Moors, the Zionist Jews. We get to talk about Hitler. This is where all these people come into play, because it was the war for power. You got to remember that religion was the power. Religion was the power. So this is what they went to war for, to have religious power over the state, which was the land, the territory. You know what I'm saying? See, we was easy prey in America because we lived in such harmony, even though we had conflict. Even in it's just like how we can say we can resolve issues. We don't have to necessarily kill each other. We could just shoot the fair one, though. We could shoot a couple fair ones. If you lose this one and you want to shoot another fair one, we can shoot that again. But everybody gonna live at the end of that. You know what I'm saying? So coming from different concepts and aspects of knowing when gunpowder was introduced, when certain religious text was introduced, when certain stories about our history or who we were, or what things transpire, or even knowing how to follow. They always tell us to follow the money, but if you follow the blood, then you'll be able to find a true thing as well, because the blood leads you to a different type of truth, especially when you study war, and not only who won the war, but who lost the war, and reconnecting the names. Like I say, we get lost in certain names because the names play tricknology on us as well. So we can get lost in Hebrews and Jews, but they really the same people. They just come from different aspects and periods of time when they change, because they move to a different location. It's like Israel. You know what I'm saying? The Middle East. How can you be in the middle and the east at the same time? That's a made up thing.
Middle East don't exist. Is Africa or it's not? Hannibal, you want to explain this here?
So I was, they was talking about the Hebrews, and I said in the last show, like, you can look through history with De Soto, and when he came on his expeditions into the southeast United States with the natives, with the Muskogee Creek and the Seminoles, he brought this group of people called Ladino people, Ladino.
Which is another spelling for Latino?
Yeah, that's the root of the Latin word. And if you look at these people, they are Hebrew people that was in Spain, and I don't know too much about it, but I studied a little bit, and it says something about I think it was Nebuchadnezzar walking them out of Israel to Spain, or to Tarsus. That's what they call Spain in the Bible.
Well, that's a long period of time.
That's a long period of time, but
because our understanding is that they were in Spain and Portugal for 800 years, ending around 1492 when Columbus set sail.
So, and then De Soto here in 1540. So we're looking at 48 years, probably looking at 2 generations later after this coming here. So you get what I mean? It wasn't no Jews. The Jews and the Muslims and all them people got expelled out of Spain. So they were still traveling. England had its alliances. They was at war with Spain. They was being pirates and everything. So it was a whole lot of things that was going on. And I would agree with Mafia. Like, we got to know what happened. Like you said, the introduction of gunpowder, what religion, what years, what happened in the 1300s, what happened in the 1790s, what started this revolution, what, when the United States was made in 1775, what was happening in France, what was happening in England, what about the 3 Musketeers, what that signified, with France, Russia, and England. A lot of us don't look at things deeper, but we need to look at things a little bit deeper. You get what I mean? And really listen to folks, because I'm learning a lot, and I'm just listening. I can see where everybody, where it's needed for all of us. Like you said, just all of us, just to listen. Don't argue, just listen.
Yeah, and that's how I come. I don't know everything either. You know what I'm saying? I just know enough to not for the war not to be able to be pulled over my eyes, because that happened to us too many times. Like I say, I come from a spiritual, family, but at the same time, some of us is just not spiritual, where they don't even care about that, or they don't care about politics. They don't care about nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they easily to be misled and guided into certain things, and that's how that person could end up being the one that's in front of you, with the gun in your face, because they don't know themselves. And they end up on the other side, like how you say, people that's supporting Trump, that's taken away from things that's really helping us. You know what I'm saying? But
well, I just want to say I ain't in love with the Democrats either, because they fight like suckers.
But that's because it's all a part of the same thing. I seen something online, and it was saying it's two wings on the bird, but they produce the same poop. So we looking for left wing to give us something and right wing to give us something, but it's limited to what we can get from them to begin with. You see what I'm saying? That's why we have to recreate what government is to us, because we the people have the power, but if we don't take power over the government is going to continue to have power over us. It's like the misunderstanding.
I don't know. I don't. What does that mean? You want to do what they did on January 6th?
No, not that. What I'm saying is that the way that we organize and how we create everything, that every position that someone has in government, we have someone in our community, in our family, that has the heart and the spirit and the intelligence and the will to do so for the community. It's just like my great grandfather. He had one leg and one eye my whole life until he passed, but he always got up and cleaned the block up. He cleaned the front of the block to the top of the block, cleaned the alleys. You know what I'm saying?
What do you get from that?
That was his service to the community, even though he couldn't be a working man.
Big brother, these cats got a $350,000 mortgage. They got a $400 car note, and they got a woman who got a $400 car note. But that's the black man. He got student loans. Mm-hmm. He's trying to live in Owens Mills when he probably should be living on Druid Hill Avenue. So you can say what you want, but dude ain't giving up that house in Owens Mills with that nice educated lady to move down on Druid Hill. She ain't doing it. We comfortable. And not only that, they going to protect it by any means necessary. They're going to take whatever job that a black person used to have, whether it's school superintendent, whether it's president of the NAACP. We're going to take all of them traditional jobs. But we living out Owens Mills. We living out Clarksville. We living up in Harford County. We ain't living in Baltimore City. What you going to do about
it? They gonna stay where they at, because that's a part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? If you living above and beyond your means in service to the community, you looking for a lifestyle over legacy. You know what I'm saying? You looking for a certain image over fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are fulfilled by what we do. Like when we on here and we talking and we sharing our information and our knowledge and our experiences, that we fulfilled by this, that it reaches each one of us or the next person. You know what I'm saying? If you're not fulfilled by that, I can't extract that from you. That's why I say it got to be in you. It can't be on you. You could wear whatever you want. I could put a suit and tie on right now. If my message not conveying, if I can't articulate myself enough to share my heart chakra and my message, then it won't get through.
Wells, you look like you about to say something.
Well, I want to go back for a second.
Yes,
the princess said something about love, right? Now, we have to be honest that we're all under a program, right? We've watched their movies, we've listened to this music and that music, right? And it's primarily centered around romantic love, right?
Yes.
Which has its value. However, there is a deeper love. And that love is extremely powerful. Now we know in terms of even, romantic love, we all know people who have done unbelievable things just based on that, right? So the quality and the definition is personal, right? Because after all, love, the word LOVE, is representing something that's invisible, but you feel it, right? Okay. So how do you get to what is invisible that you deem so important, right? You have to work to get to that so that you have a definition of these words, because we come from a culture where people talk all kind of shit, right? All kind of words, right? You know, and people say, like, even with people being assassinated or shot or this or that, right? They say, well, that person had a mental health issue, right? Mental illness or this, that, and so there's always a plethora of excuses, right? But love is sacred. Okay. So you need to put yourself in that field and discover what it really is. Okay. When you have that, you share that. You don't have to do anything. You will emanate it. And that's, I believe, our secret power. All right. So, let's take these words seriously. Okay. Okay. All right.
If I may add to that, I thank you, Wells, for your thoughts. When I spoke of love earlier, since I offered no definition, may I do so now?
Mm-hmm.
My definition of love is in reference to Mahatma Gandhi when he talks about nonviolence and love. Gandhi, oftentimes in his definition, he likened nonviolence and love to be intrinsically connected. So when we think about that connection, it kind of it roots itself in nonviolence, a proactive and courageous choice to respond to hatred and injustice with love, understanding, compassion, and goodwill. That's my definition of love. Now, I understand, because I read my Bible, that the Bible talks about unconditional love. And we can break that down as well, too. But I believe when I mentioned love earlier with regard to politics, we're seeing across the world, in absence of nonviolence, we're seeing across the world hatred that's permeated on television and public meetings at events. We're seeing a disparaging amount of poor choice of words used to describe people. That's not love. So when I listen to this conversation, which I'm so grateful that you all have welcomed me, one of the things that I like when we give value to some of this discussion, I like to go back and read the content of the meanings behind some of these thoughts that are so important to all of us, because I think it brings in new people and allows them to see and also do their own research as well. And that also prevents people from getting lost in the conversation too, because obviously the people here are very passionate and you're very knowledgeable about the topics. But I have a degree in communications and media relations. So from a journalistic point of view, I like things to be somewhat neutral and balanced. I'm always trying to figure out, how do we keep the audience engaged while also delivering an educational content that has meaning, value, and is intrinsically relatable. Because at the end of the day, if people can't relate to what we're saying, then we lose them on the foundational level, and then we've lost our audience. But I appreciate this conversation so wholeheartedly. And earlier, when I mentioned the distinctions of Hebrew versus Gentiles in the Bible, that's just the Bible. The Bible makes no mention to gunpowder. But if we talk about history, I know I studied the American Revolution. I've studied different subject content. I used to love history. Actually, I almost went to Goucher to study history. I chose to study theater instead. But my point is that there are so many people who come from diverse backgrounds, and we want them to feel this knowledge. And so I think it would be helpful that we incorporate some of the books we love and on the subject matter, so that we keep others educated, so that we keep inviting the topic and content on a higher level. That's my thoughts. But thank you again for having me and welcoming me.
Yes.
And thank you, Wells.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Princess, they want you to know Mahatma Gandhi had no love for black people. That's what Brenda said. She said he was the worst racist against melanated people. I don't know if you know the story.
Yes, he's a first class, 100% racist. And he negates anything that he's ever said just on his pure racism against specifically people of African descent.
And I want to say this about love, and then we want to properly introduce Mr. Robbie Scott here. I believe in love, but I'm still growing in the area of forgiveness. I often picture myself on the coast, on the East Coast, as the Europeans were pulling up, and I picture myself with a rocket grenade launcher and several machine guns and 50 caliber guns, just blowing them joints out the water. We ain't giving you no corn. You can't come here at all. At all. No,
No corn, Doni? No corn?
No salam alaikum. No, nothing. Nothing. No shalom.
I can't get any corn.
No dap. No, none of that. None of that. Pop, pop, pop. Pew, what? I'm sorry. I'm learning. Pew, pew, pew. Robert Scott, all the way from Atlanta. This is my Morehouse homeboy. We go back 40 years. Rob, welcome to the show. He's in. Where are you, Rob?
We got Polytechnic in common too. Now, come on, don't leave Poly out. That's my
Baltimore Polytechnic. But see, I graduated from Dunbar, so I gotta leave that.
Okay, I got you.
To some extent. Go Poly. My children came out of Poly, but I'm a poet. All right,
I was about to say, you know, your son was a running back there and a pretty good running back there.
Let me say this, folks. Rob, one of the things Rob has brought out in previous shows, and I've mentioned it, is about the San Bushman having the oldest DNA on Earth. And when that comes up, they bring up Albert Perry in South Carolina, who has some of the oldest genetics ever found in North America. But Rob, welcome back to the show. Mafia Shakur is your host tonight. I'm just co-hosting, making sure everything.
Peace, man. I wanted to, yes, sir. I appreciate you for coming. I always like when I hear your perspective as well.
Oh yeah, well, thank you, man. Man, I had something on that I wanted to respond on, and it just left me when Doni kept going on. But
I thought you were going to say something about the Jews.
Let's just keep going
the
on.
Bible and Gandhi.
Oh yeah. This is what I want to say, and I don't mean no disrespect to anyone on the podcast, anyone in the audience or whatever. I was raised a Christian, Baptist, you know, had the exposure, mom, fam, all of that. But I also have been educated. And I even had a chance to educate myself beyond high school and college. But I had an experience when I was in undergrad and I lived in a seminary at ITC, Interdenominational Theological Center. I lived in Phillips School of Theology. And I can remember all of the guys that lived there. Most of them were working on degrees in theology. I was just a hardhead from Baltimore, really, just in there with a dorm room. They actually had me in a closet. I didn't even have a window. It was driving me crazy. But I want to tell you this. and I've learned this. There were ecumenical councils or conferences that went on. One of the most notable is the Nicene Conference or the Nicene Council. That was a meeting of 300 bishops in 325 AD. What they did at that conference was shape a lot of the things that you guys are putting your arms around when it comes to Christianity. At the ecumenical councils, they made changes in the scripture. And those changes, we can point out all of the changes that were made, and it would be surprising to you. So I embrace the Bible, but I know that there were changes made purely out of white supremacy or out of, I'm going to say, race. At that conference, the Coptic Church was there. That's the Coptic Church of Egypt and Ethiopia. That's the oldest Christian church. That's the original, what they call Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox. They were at the conference and left after the first day and didn't want to have anything to do with it because in their minds, it was being whitewashed. Names changed, narratives changed, things added to make certain people seem like they were a part of it all. I'm just going to give you an example. When I talk to people about things like this, all I tell them is, prove me wrong. But if you follow the Ethiopian Bible and people who are in the Coptic Church of Ethiopia, I'm seeing the picture of Lalibela right now. Jesus was born in a cave in Ethiopia. At the Nicene Council in Nice, it's like Turkey. They changed it to Jesus was born in a manger in Bethlehem. I could mention a whole lot of them, but I only said this to say, I embrace anyone who references the Bible. No problem. I will do it from time to time. But I don't always take it for the gospel, especially when we know that we were raised not on that Bible, but on a slave Bible, which had a third of the Old Testament and a half of the New Testament, or vice versa. Anything about freedom that we profess today, that wasn't there for our people. It was slave, obey your masters, that kind of stuff. That's all I
Yeah,
have to say.
I agree with you. The Council of Nicaea wasn't just about the Christian Bible. It was the Torah. It was the Quran as well. It was a religious power structure. So it was for all the three main religions that run the world today. So it's not just about the Christian aspect. When you trace the religions back to the holy tablets, and you get more into the origin of where Scripture come from, then you get into the stories and you get to the so-called Anunnakis, and you get to the giants, and you get to those different textures of beings and spirit, and dealing with spirit, because a lot of time our mind wants to it's hard for us to imagine certain things, so we have to put it in a story form for us to be able to receive certain things. Like when we think of Mother Nature, we don't think of the earth as a totality. We think of just a single tree or just a field of grass. You know what I'm saying? Mother Nature is
Right.
the totality, is the womb of the creation of life and totality. You know what I'm saying? So it's a spirit being more than a personification of a being. And so
I would agree with you 100%. I just want to add to what you said. The scriptures are carved in the Meta Nature hieroglyphs in a place called Ipit Asut. It's in Karnak, Egypt. Ipit in Karnak, Egypt. It's the Bible in stone. My father's been there taking a picture of it. He went there with Dr. Ben when Dr. Ben was doing his trips. And there, Ashra Kwesi was there on that trip. Ashra Kwesi talks about it. Ipit Bible in stone. And I'm quite sure other places too, because Egypt was just a monument to what actually went on in Ethiopia and in Kush. It was just a monument that went on from our people. All that stuff had gone on years before they started carving. And you can imagine how long it took to carve it.
I understand, but that's why when I say that we should come from the spiritual aspect and the cultural aspect to gain a political aspect, and like Wells and the Princess was saying, it's about the love aspect. But if I can't love myself for who I am and know who I am from these three major points of life, it's gonna be hard to love somebody else or to omit or produce a certain frequency that vibrates of love. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Absolutely.
I do. There's
Absolutely.
a term that they call know thyself, know it for yourself.
Because we all different. So I might be a fire god. You might be a water god. You know what I'm saying? We all represent different elements, and we have different gifts that we take on, different personifications of our being and who we are and what we produce and omit with that love frequency. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Just want to take a moment and thank Candy Bod, aka DJ Sweetness. She has been so kind lately. We must be doing a great job, Mafia, because she will be the first to put her foot all the way in my hind parts. But we also have tuned in the one and only legendary Top Cat.
Yes, peace
Give
and
that man
God.
some salute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Legendary Top Cat.
There's someone else who's been supporting your show. Her name is Sela_Saint. She's been really giving a lot of shout outs. So hi, Sela.
Selah, I believe.
Is it Selah? Is it
Yeah,
Selah?
like Selah in the Bible, like Selah.
Selah. Well, what's beautiful is I'm paying her homage. Hello.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Doug, any thoughts?
Well,
Where are you, Doug, for those just tuning in? And hit the like and subscribe button, please.
I'm in Oakland, California. And,
Home of the Black Panthers.
That's right. And I just want to say this before I sign off. At the end of the day, the white man.
Oh, Selah or Selah. Okay.
Yeah, the white man. Why do you think the white man in the early stages of this country gave the Indian man his own area and not let him get involved in the mainstream to control him? He didn't want the Indian to have their own space in their community. That's why they would give them pieces of land. And that's what's going to be happening pretty soon now. So I'm just hoping that we all continue this dialogue. We all continue to understand that without political power in this country, you're powerless. And it's going to get worse if we don't band together and put our votes, get people to register to vote, and teach people who to vote for. Because
teach them who to vote for and teach them how to hold them accountable, Doug. We can't just pull a lever. We can't just, and we do have to donate to their campaigns, but we also got to get their cell phone number and we have to call them. And we can't just call them and say, hey, Senator Hayes, I need this. Hey, I need that. Sometimes we got to say, hey, Senator Hayes, I want to do some volunteering for you. I want to do a fundraiser for you. A guy said something to me yesterday. I want to do a fundraiser for so-and-so. I said, did you tell him? Did you make the phone call? Did you follow up? Even, as we do business. We have $2 trillion in annual disposable income. Answer your phone, Black people, melanated people, Native American. Answer your damn phone.
Okay.
I got a guy in business.
Okay.
I got a guy in business, and I swear, he'd say, well, send me a text. I'm 60 years old. If you can't answer your phone, then obviously, you know, I'm learning, okay, go ahead and send the text. But damn, we miss business playing. Answer the damn phone. This particular dude needs business badly. Maybe he don't get it because he don't answer his phone. Okay, that's my PSA.
Well, you know, I'm out here in California holding people accountable. I got a DA elected, I got a mayor elected, and when they didn't do their job, I led the charge on the recall and got them both recalled.
Congratulations.
So you can Google Pamela Price was the first African American Black woman to be the DA in Alameda County, and you can also Google Shang Tao. I was supportive of them, but when they didn't do their job, I took put my boot on and kicked their butts to the curb. No, kicked their ass to the curb.
Doug, we can't wait for you to come back with your show. This man was a home run hitter. He's been on bed rest, I guess. So you
I'm coming back, Captain, because you are doing an outstanding. No, we are doing an outstanding thing here.
Absolutely.
And right now, we need this kind of a platform that any time in America for us to be talking about the issues. And to all of you all, I'm gonna do what they did on the dating game.
Selah gave you some love from 69ville all the way up through Northridge.
Hey,
Yes.
I got you, man. I got you. And Donnie, we love the work that you're doing, and the momentum that you got going here with these all-stars out here is amazing. So you guys have a good evening, and thanks for inviting me, Donnie.
Come on in, Hannibal. You've been quiet. I ain't used to that.
Well, I was just taking it all in, and I agree with everybody. You know, it's plans that we got to do. You know, it's information that we got to find out. I was talking to my cousin yesterday, and I was talking about the frame of mind, and I started thinking from a physics level, from like energy, from like potential energy and kinetic energy and things like that. And I was thinking about outcomes as a people. And I think that from now on, we just got to have positive thoughts. You know, that's everybody. You know, when we have bad situations, positive thoughts. You know, I know it sounds vague, but that's where I'm from. I don't like to get too pinpointed to an issue and be pointing fingers. I like solutions, you know, on a massive scale, on a bigger scale, macro scale. So I'm talking about connectiveness. I listened to the princess when she was talking about like we need to get our listeners the information. So I propose to everybody on the panel, like, where can I find, what books can I read? You know, where can I find information on what you guys are talking about, and where can the audience know this information?
Well, or you know, you can always start with the greats. Ivan Van Sertima. You can start listening to Malcolm X. You can listen to Elijah Muhammad. He got The Message to the Black Man. He got a lot of books. I necessarily, I look at a lot of lectures as well. You know what I'm saying? I listen to a lot of speeches. So, like I said, you can check out Legendary Top Cash. You can listen to Rod Hayes, Brother Rich on Magic, Black Magic 363 channel.
Okay.
You know, I also listen to what's his name? My man Billy Carson. I listen to a lot of different information. You know what I'm saying? But as far as in books, I'm not necessarily a reader when it comes to that. I study more. I do more research. So I'm more a comparative analysis, because, like I say, I started from when I was born, I was born to a Christian and a Muslim family. My grandmother was a Christian. My grandfather was a Muslim. So I had to study both. I'm not really getting too deep into one aspect of it. I gotta, like you say, find a solution. Where do it connect? How do I tie this to that? What's the same thing so we can push it forward? Because I don't know everything. I'm just here to play my part. There's people that's more knowledgeable about me about certain things. But if I can bring us to a certain common ground to push that forward, that's what I'm here for.
Yes, sir.
Know thyself.
Okay, so now one thing is this. This is my take, is that the creator principle, all right, doesn't particularly write in English. Doesn't particularly write in Arabic. Okay, doesn't particularly write in Hindu mythology. Doesn't ain't from Nigeria, okay, or Cleveland. All right, the creator of the universe, okay, writes with nature. Okay, ever since I've ever been around the so-called Native American, they relate very deeply to nature as a teacher. Okay, when they use plants, they can use different plants to delve deeper into nature. Okay, and the shamans get wisdom from that experience. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
anything written, I don't care who wrote it, okay, is an abstraction of that truth that we have lost. Okay, so that's very, very important for us to look at that. Now, with the other brother, he was talking more political slash practical to this situation, right? So this is the question that I wanted to ask, is this, because when I was in Africa, you know, I see different people and they'd be they'd be so deep. I'd be with the Vambos and I say, well, you know, I've been invited over here with the Herreros, and they'd be like, no, we don't even go over there, bro. And I'm like, well, damn, they look just like you. I mean, what's up, right? Okay. Or you know, you meet somebody and say, well, I'm Nigerian, or they say, you know, I'm Ghanaian, or they say, you know what I'm saying? Okay. And then they get into maybe this particular tribe or whatever. Now, this is my question: is there in this part of Turtle Island a indigenous group, since this is the forum of this conversation, that accepts, okay, us, that we can go in, sign up, and be down with them? That's what I wanted to know, if that exists today.
I was looking in the comments. There's a guy named, what's his name, Tahanga, and he says he's Okanichi Saponi.
Okay.
My cousin name is Edward Carter Sanders. He's on the board of the Haliwa and Okanichi Saponi band of Saponi Indians down there in Halifax, North Carolina. Do you know him?
Do I know him? No.
No, I'm talking to one of the guys that's in the comment. I'm asking him a question because because he's been putting up Okanichi Saponi, and I'm wondering, would this tribe, would they welcome us in? Because they know they got a history of free people of color. And I'm, like I said to him, I got cousins that sit on the board of the other tribe down there. So I'm asking him. So
I like exactly where you're going with this. You know what? And I just want to interject, because this was the thing I was talking about earlier. It's something I had talked to my father, man. My father, he did some things in the civil rights movement in Maryland. He was with a group of guys that actually did the desegregation of the services and the facilities in the state of Maryland.
Okay.
And how it all got started was at this amusement park called Gwynn Oak Park. Eyes are going to pick up. There's some eyes right there at Gwynn Oak Park. I was born in 63. By 67, I was at Gwynn Oak Park. I knew nothing about it until I was in my 40s looking in Facebook. And then I went back and asked my father because I knew he was involved in what was going on. And I found out that that was a major thing in Baltimore, where we came from, where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
Black people couldn't go to Gwynn Oak Park at all. And they wind up desegregating that. And I say this all to say, when I looked at the pictures, I asked my father, I asked him, who is this white guy right here? And whose side was he on? He was a guy by the name of Wickwire. I think it was Frank Wickwire. He was deep into the civil rights movement in Maryland. And he represented not the Protestant side, but the Catholic side. And I'm saying all this to say, my father told me that you have to go out and create alliances. We're here, you can call it the belly of the beast. We make up about 12% of the population or less. And those numbers don't count. Or more. But you have to make alliances out there to strengthen those numbers. And this whole setup that we have here, we just want them to know we're reaching out. We're not trying to go against you, not trying to fight against you. We're just trying to strengthen us. Because one thing we do know is that we come from Africa and America. Some of us have roots that came from America before the slave trade. A lot of us, most of us have it after. But if we separate ourselves fighting against a majority, we don't have any strength. So we have to reach out, everything that we've been saying, I'm just adding, create alliances to what we're all talking about. We have to create alliances, and we have to watch out who we create our alliances with. With us, a lot of our alliances are still in our race, within our race, to bring us all together, to atone, to come as one. We got to reach. There's people in our race that are in other countries that are doing positive things. Those numbers count. I just think we need to make sure that we're reaching out and creating alliances. That's it.
May I say something really quick? I thank everyone for having me on the show. It's truly been an honor and my greatest privilege. I will be exiting. I just wanted to do it politely and just say to everyone, have a very good evening. If you want to follow me, my name is Princess Taikara. I'm the owner and creator of Voiceover Inspires Entertainment. On Instagram, I am at Princess We Voice for someone in the chat that asked. So you can find me on Princess We Voice.
Someone.
I have his name, the legendary Topcast. I wrote his name down.
You see how
I was listening, the legendary Topcast, but I wasn't sure if he was the only one, so I wanted to be polite in case there were others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't want to just call him out in case someone else said it too.
That man called you out. Tell that man how to reach you. Stop playing.
At Princess We Voice, or you can Google me, Voiceover Inspires Entertainment. I'm here to inspire. Again, I thank all of you for having me. This has been a joyful conversation, and it's been a pleasure meeting all of you. I wish I could travel to Hawaii right now. Well,
okay.
Yes. Well, anyway, thank you, Donnie Glover. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Good night.
Princess, send me that information about the contact in Asia, okay?
Let's text after this, Mr. Phone Person. Yes,
Good.
We'll chat after. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Peace. Yeah, I want to comment to what Wells saying. I'm sorry, Will.
Can you hold it for 1 sec?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Donnie, Donnie, this is my question to you. A lot of, because all this shit is new to me, this, it's cool though, but this is what I want to know. There's this thing called Patreon, right? You familiar with that? Okay. I, what's important, I think, you tell me, I don't know the game, but there are certain things, because this is a public forum, right? They could be watching this in Bangladesh for all we know.
Yes, sir.
There'll be certain things that is, for lack of a better word, private conversation.
Yes.
Is there an avenue that you can put on your site that if we needed to talk about some other stuff that we didn't want completely on blast, we could do?
Sure.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. All right,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry, brother, for interrupting you.
Nah.
Go for it.
I was just saying, as far as in what you were saying on what do we have that is our organizations here. I feel like we have a lot of organizations, but we just not organized as one conglomerate in totality. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like some of us who don't have that connection to a certain Indian tribe or a reservation, we don't know how to go about that, or we're not connected to them. Or if you're more on the political reign, you're doing political work. If you're more on the spiritual work, you're on spirituality. It's like, how do we bring it back to a wholesome society? I think that's the issue. We have to live all in one society as each part playing its part. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we are creating in this day and time by sharing the information and putting each other together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just trying to see would he make a comment on anything, but it's like Robert was saying, it's the making of alliances. I believe. I think these nations is out here like this. You got the Yamasee. I've seen them with some of their videos. You got the Nesman tribe. You got the Chickahominys. You got the Rappahannocks. You got the Choctaws. You got the Otos. You got the Pimas. You got all these native tribes talking, but they're not reaching out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's just time for us. Just like now, hey. You want to reach out to us, make your alliance now. Show us where you stand. And that's just like how they showing us where they stand. And I think that's the position we got to take, because we have been a victim. And we got to take it back, and we like take it back from a spiritual level, from an educational level, and from a tribal level too. You get what I mean? We can't be, we got to be firm with it.
Mafia, what's the significance of you hosting this show?
The significance, I believe, is it's just a merger of the generations. You know what I'm saying? It's a merger of the generations, because I see y'all have a lot of elders on here, and I'm just sharing the new ideas and information, because I see y'all, y'all go at sometimes, and we be saying the same thing. We just don't know, like I say, how to connect this with that, and we saying the same thing. We saying the same thing, like. Bro say, well, what's the solution? Well say, well, what do we have here that is out? You know what I'm saying? So we all saying the same thing. It's just about how do we get to that? What action steps do we take? You know what I'm saying? What platforms do we use? How do we utilize certain people at their best, what they best at? You know what I'm saying? What is your best skill? What is your best attribute? What is your best academia? So we know how to best put you forward.
Agreed.
I agree.
Robbie, any thoughts on reversing this 70% single mother household situation in our community nationwide?
I'm hearing a little static, but I did hear exactly what you said. And you're asking me my opinion on what should be done?
How do we reverse that single parent household? Because one thing, as Princess was talking, and even as Mafia was talking, I thought about how we are. You're right. It's a different day and time. This 2025. I think two things that really hit us every day, every single day, everyone on the screen, is mainstream media and social media. I talk to people and I know they have been I know they've been watching Fox. They'll give me a call and I wonder why they on this particular vibration. And then I think they watch Fox. Fox has more news broadcast hours than 11, 2, and 13 here in Baltimore, ABC, CBS, NBC. And they loop messages. They play it over and over and over. And if they keep showing a picture of me on the screen with a gun and a handkerchief, then that's what you're going to think of me without even giving me the benefit of the doubt. We are all guilty because they bombard us. So I think one of our biggest challenges is the media. Is the media and what they're banging us in the head with to make us hate each other.
Yes.
Can I answer the question though that you asked me? I want to give you my opinion on it. I think the answer is there in technology.
Robbie, your connection is bad, babe. I don't know what happened. It just
come back because all I'm hearing is a static. I'm gonna
okay. Come on out and come back in. Okay.
Yeah. Mafia.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
really
y'all as
do.
well. I've been watching y'all
really
for a while. I've been watching y'all for a while. I just, Mr. Doni offered me the opportunity to come up and be a part. I'm kind of camera shy though, but when you're around great people that just make it home for you, that don't even play a part. So
you are great, brother. You are great.
The deep thing is that there are different
schools of thought.
Egypt, Hindu, Taoist, or whatever, right? But one of the things that they speak on is ages. Okay, we're in a certain age. Okay, and this is your age, my brother. Okay, so the reason why you are incarnated at this time, is you hold answers to this dilemma.
Yes,
okay. And I just want you to know we appreciate you. Okay. And everybody here, I use an old term, is hip. Okay. Okay. You are people. You are people, and we love you.
Yes, sir. I love y'all as well, man. I appreciate that. That's much gratitude. All praise to the Most High. And like I say, had y'all not led the way from whatever path y'all took, it wouldn't all come together. You know what I'm saying? So everything, my hashtag that I created is "and that plays a part" because and that plays a part, and two, this plays a part, and also this plays a part. So it's like we not dealing with just one problem. We dealing with generations and centuries and hundreds of years and multiple problems on top of problems. So it's not going to be one solution. We all learn different. We all have different styles of communication. So it's not one way to fix the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's not, when I was in my studies, it's like had Marcus Garvey had Noble Drew Ali, and he had the Black Panther Party, and he had the Nation of Islam, and if everybody had each other, if they was all in one time, it'd be over already. We wouldn't be going through nothing. Right. But see, that's what we have to build amongst us from the knowledge itself, because we all can't play the same part. I can't be the scholar and be the surgeon at the same time. It's going to take too much time and too much focus to study. But as you can grow, you can go from one thing to the next, but you can't do it all at the same time. So this is why we all play our part to give our perspective and to open up new perspectives and to continue to grow and to share. And like how he was saying, as far as in the single parent household, it starts with the education and the knowledge itself, like he say, with that love, because we have to learn to love ourselves again. Our women don't love themselves. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We love how much. Right. You know, it's the program, and so we have to reprogram ourselves, but it had to start with you. It have to start with you. We could be on this channel every day, and if you don't want to receive what we sharing and do the work for yourself, because we can't go home with each other if we're not going home together. You know what I'm saying? So once we part, you have to have that will and desire for you to want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like my daughter, she'll be 17 in November. So it's like I try to teach her etiquette, table etiquette, just putting a napkin on your table, you know, just regular etiquette at the table, you know. And I said, you know, the first thing you're not going to do when you go home is you're not going to even sit at the table to eat your food. You see what I'm saying? So even the etiquette don't even matter because you're not even going to sit at the table. But one thing I want to share with you is that no matter what environment you're in, you can always be who you are. So you have to have that courage and that strength to be who you are no matter what environment you're in.
Absolutely. 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 Did the brother from Oakland? Oakland.
Yeah, I think he signed out.
Is he back?
The brother from Oakland, I believe he signed out earlier.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. All right. No, I can't see you, brother, with the. I'm sorry. You. That's what we're talking about. Robert.
The sound is off.
Oh, okay. Because I could feel what you were getting ready to come with. Yeah, I would love to hear that because he was on that technology tip.
Yeah, I've been stepping into the AI forum lately and been asking the questions, and you know, but you gotta have some knowledge yourself. You can't just
absolutely.
Yes, sir. You got to be able to correct AI because that's still a programming as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until you program your AI to know a little piece of your mind, then it's going to give you with the programming. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the world is changing, and I can see a lot of people scared to change with it, and it's going to change regardless. But at the same time, that's just how things go. But we are resilient people, and we always change with things. So
yes, sir. And we got to create that comfort for each other. Like I say, I'm available to the panel. So if anybody need to hit me up, or you know, even if I don't know something, I'll do my best to learn it so I can share it with you. You know what I'm saying? And make it more accessible to you. That's what we're here for. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's the same here. And I want to share the knowledge I have with our history with the natives here with people, so they can. My email is James7Ewing EWING@gmail.com. You know, and you can send me an email. You know, you could just send me a text, a message there, and I'll relate to you, and I send you what I have.
Yes, sir.
And that goes for anyone.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir, man. This is an honor for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, man, you honoring us.
Yes, sir. Like I said,
I've been viewing some of the comments that people been putting up, and it's some, you know, I see people going back and forth, but conversation, you know, is good. Everybody's conversing with each other. You know, it's not nothing really bad going on, but good conversation. You know, talking to one another about how they feel, and that's a good thing.
But we have to challenge each other. We hold, like you say, love is personal. So these things that we talking about are so personal. That's why they always tell us, well, you can't talk about politics and religion. Well, why not? You know what I'm saying? Because they know once you start pulling that root from you, it's going to change the fruit of the tree. So we have to unroot ourselves so that we can replant a better seed.
Absolutely.
Right. Like you said something that was profound. You said that we got to, like how we got this government now and we got this system now, and we got people in our family that need to take them positions, or, you know what I'm saying, something similar to them positions, because it's the infrastructure that's already there. And say, for instance, you know, with things that's going on in the world now, and say, for instance, this place collapse happens, since who's going to step up? Are we going to step up? Are we going to fail with it? You know? So it's going to take for us to be thinking like, you know, we need doctors, we need social workers, we need government, we need all these people, we need everything. We need everybody to come online. So it's a place for everybody. So just fit in, you know, that's the whole thing I'm saying.
Yes, sir. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Because it's like we could we could always debate the history. We could debate the dates. We could debate the ethnicities. We could debate time periods. It's, all of that, we can always debate that, but we could still debate those things and come to common ground while we putting action steps into play that will really set solid foundations for what's to come. You know what I'm saying? Because the future is now. We just don't get to see it until tomorrow.
Right. They're gonna write, so they're gonna write about it. They're gonna be talking about us 25 years to 50 years from now, or what this effect of us talking right now will bring. Like you said, let's make some action steps. This is my 5th podcast with you guys. And I want to start my initiatives. I've been gardening, I've been socializing with folks here in this area, my family, but I'm gonna broaden it out and I'm gonna reach out to you guys. And if we can work on anything, if you guys need me to help, hey, just reach out to me and I'm there.
No, it start with us building and sharing the information. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely about us reclaiming who we are. Like I say, we can't love each other if we don't love ourselves, but we love ourselves enough to share what we have learned about ourselves with each other. You know what I'm saying? To be able to push forward so that we can continue to grow and learn more.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
You got your sound right, brother. We waiting to hear from you.
You know what? It's
Absolutely.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's still static.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut out and come back the next time.
Okay.
Yes,
all right, bro.
Peace.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a pleasure though. Like, it's definitely a pleasure, man. Like I say, I can come with some more general topics and ideas because it is things that I still want to learn about and share as well. Like I say, I don't know my exact lineage, but my great grandmother always said that her grandmother was an Indian. So that's what made me look more into not what Indian am I, but what does it mean for me to be an Indian?
You said a good thing. Like if you could say where your ancestors from, what state and what time period, because it was a flow when they came up through Maryland to Virginia, then to the Carolinas, then to Georgia. It was like a flow. Then they slid to Georgia to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So if you can pinpoint your time period, like my second great grandfather born 1843, Alabama. He born 9 years after the Treaty of Cassetta. So they there. So his parents were there. So if you know where your people at, you can triangulate what tribes was in the area.
Yeah.
And that's how it's simple. Not simple, but it can be easy for some of our listeners right now, especially if you got ancestry, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland.
Yeah. Hey, man, our young people, I know this, I'm putting on blast. She won't remember. This was many years ago. She was looking for a party in D.C. She found that party in D.C., but she couldn't find the admissions office at a particular university. We find what we want to find. We do what we want to do. We research what we want to research.
Right. When it's important, when you got something, when you got something getting out of it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely. See, I know about the certain tribes, Yamasee, like I say, it's just about me relating the time periods, because the only person that I have is my great grandmother. She was born in 1934 down in Timmins Island, Talbot County. You know what I'm saying? So now it's about me chasing the vital records and everything to her parents, because she don't have no paperwork on them. So now I have to tie myself to my father line, and then because my two families came from my mother, father, and my mother's mother. They was my two families. Then my father side of the family became my third side of the family.
So I think that's where my group, I got a group of researchers. It's about over 200 of us that took the DNA test, and we've been actually reading the documents and putting us together. It's over 200 of us, called the Alabama Black Belt DNA. And I think that's where we come in, where we can actually document the family names. Because we, in our group, you say a name, we know the history of these people. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that I'm gonna bring more people or if I can, Donnie, can I bring a couple people to the table?
Oh, please do. I just
You
got
know,
this one general question for you, if I could. Any thoughts on trauma? We don't talk about it much. A young lady, we did a show Friday night on women in business, and one thing that came out was a young lady. She's 5 years younger than me. We both grew up a block apart, and we both saw a murder. We actually saw. She saw. She saw the gunman. This is 1978. So if you're still running and watching this show, just turn yourself in. But anyway, um, we have seen things in our own lifetime that are traumatic. In 2025, this year, a week ago, a black man got lynched. We have seen Trump turn back the clock on civil rights like never in our lifetime. I can't speak for you, Wells, but I know at 60, this reminds me of the beginning of what caused the 1968 riots. People like this president. And so, any thoughts? And let's start with you, Elder, on the trauma we have faced as a people. And again, when the police pull us over, they're not gonna ask if you Saponi, Chippewa, Cherokee. They see in their eyes 4 black men. We know that we are all heavenly. We know that we are divine creatures built and made for this time to be on this broadcast and help spread light. But any thoughts on how we heal from trauma? And just the thing on the single mothers, when you don't have a man helping to raise that child, you have what we have today. Kids, fatherless children, and increasingly motherless children. So let's start with you, Mr. Wells. Any thoughts on how we heal from trauma if you subscribe to the fact that we have been through trauma as a people?
Well, we've certainly been through trauma as a people. Dr. DeGruy,
Neil deGrasse?
the sister.
Frances Cress?
Well, that yes, her, but her contemporary. She talks deeply about trauma. It just her name is
Shahzad Ali.
no. DeGruy is her name, I believe.
Okay, but come on with it.
So the trauma, in other words, when we talk about the Holocaust in Germany, we talk about a trauma of 5 to 8 years. Okay, the trauma that we're working with is over 400 years. Okay, so we have never addressed that, right? It is on us to heal each other, and the only way to do that is to exalt the process of know thyself. You really must know yourself, because everything has been promoted, and like Donnie said, orange hair man is trying to erase the little that there was there. Okay, so that just means that we got to do it. So, the idea of providing a book list of books that we cherish that can address some of that, right? Sharing music that addresses that, right? The blues itself is a art form that addresses trauma under the confines of a racist system, right?
Yes, sir.
So now, in terms of the fact that we are all here, and we all have this faculty of intellect, shows our strength. through trauma, right? So in terms of Native people, indigenous people, whatever, there are certain rituals, there are certain practices that bring about a healing within trauma. One is sweat lodge,
Mhm.
you know, but these are things that we gonna have to do. It's not something that, you know, just some poetry and, you know, I'm cool and all that. Mm-mm. You have to put in that work. But one of the things, brother, is that recognizing that trauma is an issue is very, very important.
Yeah, a lot
Because
of us be
because to
ashamed to
not
address it.
recognize it is denial. I don't even know I
Correct.
am a liar. Okay, I'm
Correct.
sorry, Hannibal.
I was saying a lot of us as black men, we be ashamed to address how we
Straight up.
feel, like how we talking right now. You know, I'm glad we talking because we usually don't talk like this. We'll say one or two things. Somebody might say something, we'll shrug it off and go about our business. But I'm absolutely glad because
Right.
we need a platform to talk about the trauma. You know, they say DNA holds trauma. So even before we even got here, we was traumatized. So we dealing, you know, one comment you said, we dealing with trauma and only place we got help was in religion. You know what I mean? As
Was it a help though? Because it might have soothed our spirit and we felt good for the moment. But meanwhile, in Africa, they still in the land. Here, they still in the land. You know, we go praying and closing our eyes and we wake up and they took our stuff. Okay, all right.
Brenda made a comment here. It says we are going through post-traumatic slavery syndrome. That is, like I said, it's escaping me. But that term,
oh, she said it. They said her name, Joy.
DeGruy. There you go. That's what I'm talking
forgive
about.
Me, golly,
That would be the book. That would be the book to check because she's done extreme research in terms of that trauma.
Well, what's the healer? What's the solution, though? I just want us to stay in the solution. And I think I hear Hannibal saying communication, opening up, probably private discussions like this. The sister pointed out the beauty of having Mafia. And you know what, Mafia? I'm taking over your show. Let me get out the way. You close this on out. I'll sit back. But us coming together.
Yes, I appreciate it. I feel as far as in trauma, you have to at first acknowledge it. Like the elder said, though, you have to acknowledge it, then you have to receive it and accept it. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to be able and free to discuss it and share it, because even if you share it with yourself, if you say things out loud and you just say, damn, I've been through this and it's affected me. You know what I'm saying? That is just enough healing in itself for you to be able to release it, to accept new energy, to be able to move forward. The trauma runs so deep, like the elder said, it runs so deep that we just moving forward. We not even knowing that trauma is affecting the decisions and the way that we moving, because it's so connected to something that is so deep and covered up inside of us. So it definitely takes you doing it. We have to do it. We have to look at ourselves, and like you say, the knowledge of self. That's when I couldn't make a choice between Christianity and Islam, I went with the 5% Nation of Islam. So I didn't have to choose between my grandmother and my grandfather. I did that for me. That was my choice. So it opened me up to a lot of things that was for self. So I had to face a lot of things that was just for me, like a neglect. My mother went outside to sit on the front, and I'm like, man, my mother leaving me. She just going outside though, but she don't. I'm so connected to it. It's like it's a small thing that's traumatizing that it builds up over time, and you have to address these small things. You probably think that's nothing though. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I seen my cousin after 15, 20 years. I was like, boy, remember you went and grabbed the guy brother when I was fighting him, and you told his brother to come around there. Well, I was like, boy, I could never trust you after that. He like, man, you still was. I said, bro, that really broke my heart though. Like, I didn't know how to take that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't feel no type of way about it now, but I had to address that so I can release that.
I ain't gonna lie, man. You see some cats from childhood, especially if you bigger than them. Come on now. The thought of punching him in the mouth come cross your head. I ain't forget, but you like, nah, I'm grown now. But part of you be like, yeah, why I just.
But we have to be willing to do the work, though.
I need you to talk about the music, because it's easy for me to say your generation music is violent. And then I got to think that our parents didn't like, we were around when rap first, the modern day rap first came on, because for those that don't know, there was the Watts Prophets, Gil Scott-Heron, and the Last Poets dropping knowledge before Biggie was born.
Yes.
But any thoughts on the music? And not only that, this celebrity idol worship that we have in our community. It's, you know, I love dancing. I love dancing as much as any melanated person. Rarely, if ever, are you going to catch me dancing on these platforms. Why? Because your boy Jay-Z said it. Sports and entertainment. Long as we telling the jokes, long as we, you know, making moves, long as we catching a ball, they take us serious. But when it's talking about this, Walter Plecker, what Brenda Bennett talks about, E1B1A haplo group, our history, our lineage, the land, $5 billion in land in Virginia alone, conservative, taken from us with declassification by racists, eugenicists, just like the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, who said that black people are like weeds that needed to be exterminated, but they'll hire a black woman CEO. Oh, Planned Parenthood is good. No, it's not. They didn't kill millions of black babies. No, we don't see them as good. And now they want to be up in Africa. So, yeah, I'm sorry. The music, the hip hop.
Yeah. The music
That's
period. The music period, right? So what we have to do is we have to not just accept, right, what others say is the definition of music. Music is not what you think it is.
All right, come on with it.
But you're going to have to discover it for yourself.
What does that mean?
That it ain't just about some entertainment. It's a deeper thing. So you'll notice as you go into antiquity, you'll find that music was used to connect one to invisible beings and invisible forces. Okay, we've lost that connection. So you know, it was about making some money.
Solutions.
Playing cute things.
Well, solutions.
Yes.
Solution.
I've already stated the solution. Is
okay,
go back to your indigenous roots and find out what they did with
what
music.
If your ancestors are dead, Wells?
Can you read?
Yeah,
well, do the research. Do the research. I ain't giving up shit. Do the research. That way you'll know it.
Okay, I want to hear from Mafia. What you think, Mafia, about the music?
Some things you have to know for yourself. I think the music is just like religion and everything else. They take what's good and they poison it. And we so caught up in the thing itself, we can't see when it's being poisoned. It's like, this food is so good, though. I'm ready to die for it. You know? So it's like we can't get away from what's selling and what's spiritual, like Wells said. See, I couldn't put anything in my music because my grandmother, she sang Christian music. So it's like I can't rap for my grandmother and them, just anything that my homeboys would rap. You know what I'm saying? And my uncle, he was a street rapper, so I can't just get out here and just be goofy anyway. So I had to bridge between my consciousness, my streetness, and my spirituality. And also just bridging with being me, who I am without any construct of anything else. Who am I? What do I speak about? So it's just like my music is my spirituality. Sound, frequency, and vibration is our communication. This is the nonverbal communication. This is what we omit. I can feel you. I can feel you coming before I see you because you omit a certain frequency and vibration. The colors that you wear omit a certain frequency and vibration. So all these things, the tonal language that you're using is creating a certain frequency and vibration. So if the words that I'm speaking on this podcast, I have to speak this because if I'm talking about, I got sticks and putting niggas in the grave and that, I'm creating a whole new future where this is what we doing. So we're not understanding that we are creating the future that's the death of us, and as opposed to pulling ourselves out of it. And we have to address the fear. The elephant in the room is the fear. We fear because we haven't addressed the trauma. So we scared of the dogs and the water hoses and the slave chains, and we scared of all that. So we don't even want to challenge the status quo that's keeping us where we at because we still in fear of the trauma that is embedded in our DNA because we're not educating ourselves to reprogram our frequency and our vibration to change the song that we making.
I just hope we start getting our own awards because I get tired of us trying to beg non-black people for a damn award. Frankie Beverly never got no damn award, so
we ain't give it to him. We can give it to him from beyond the grave, and that's the thing too. When we pour libations and give thanks to the ancestors, that's the same thing we can do. Michael Jackson ain't gotta be here for us to say, man, we honor Michael Jackson for this. He did, because even though Michael Jackson was world renowned and he made on every album I was coming out, he always made a black song. It don't matter how pop music he made, he always made a song that was just like, we know this for niggas though. No disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a poor.
Oh, the same with the dope. In The Godfather, they said, give it to us. The heroin. They said that, right? But you in Baltimore, I'm in Baltimore. I see in the black community more non-black addicts than ever before. Come on, we got to get out of here, Hannibal. You got the last word, man. Because I see we gonna be here all night. We got to go.
I just believe, like, for us to heal from trauma, like positive affirmations to self, do different things. Maybe like the Native Americans had the little sweat lodges, go to a steam room, exercise, new diet, new programming, and that'll help you. Because, like you said, we all got trauma. I was born in trauma in Detroit. Me and my sister was in the middle of a shootout. We was 3. When I was 4, she was 3.
What'd you do? Did you duck?
No, shit. I pissed on myself for years. I was scared living in Detroit. Real stuff. But I'm just saying to you that this is normal. And we walk.
It's been normal. It's been normalized. Like when they have a shooting in a non-black school, they bring out the therapist. And by the way, I got multiple therapists. If you need one, I'll certainly share a list. I got a therapist for every issue a person could face out here. We got therapists. We bring them on the show. But that's what we need. We need healing. And thank y'all for being a part of this.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the panel.
Man, they just going on. Elijah, Brenda, Tahonga, Selah, much love to you. Thank you for supporting this show.
Absolutely.
Good deal.
Shout out to
we'll be back. I'll send you the memo. I'm trying not to wear this out. I love doing this show. And we got to, I take the day off to do some research. Plus, I'm in school. So I appreciate you all, man. May the Creator, the Great Spirit bless each and every one of us till we meet again.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay.
Shout out to
y'all.
the Top Cats.
Y'all.
Hey, Law, you got to come back. Make sure you subscribe.
Absolutely.
And like the channel.
Yes, absolutely.
Good evening, world.
All right. Peace now.